Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's Sketchbook Storytime is about all of the silly things that I feel guilty about that I totally shouldn't. So, the first story that comes to mind when I think about really dumb things that really should not be continued to be carried with me to this day, but still are. The first is when I was 16 and I was working at this popular burger joint, and I got this huge order in. And it turned out that that huge order was my stepmom ordering for their whole family. Now, apparently, within this whole order, my dad only ordered one burger, one specific burger, and the rest of it was for everybody else. And apparently, in the chaos of making like 15 sandwiches, I missed one. And the one that I missed was my dad's. And it was completely unintentional. I did not do it on purpose, but I missed his burger. And my stepmom spent years making me feel like really bad about it, like making me feel like I did it on purpose, and my dad was super sad about it and thought it was because, I was mad at him and didn't want him to eat or something. So, even years later, when my relationship with my dad was better, I had told him about it too, and I'm just like, I want you to know, Dad, that one time that I worked at this burger joint and forgot your sandwich, it wasn't because I hate you, it was just, I don't know how it didn't end up in the bag. It should have ended up in the bag. I did not forget about you on purpose. And he's like, dude, I know that, I didn't think that you did, but my stepmom spent so much time making me feel like he was heartbroken because I didn't like him, so I didn't give him his sandwich. Which is ridiculous, and I totally shouldn't have bought into it because I didn't even know which sandwiches were for who. So I could not have even intentionally left his out, but I felt guilty about it for the longest time, and it still makes me feel sad in my stomach when I think about everyone getting their burgers and my dad just sitting there being hungry with no burger because I forgot it. So I still feel like a shithead for that, even though it was totally an accident and he totally didn't blame me or think that I did it on purpose, but there you go. The second thing that I still feel guilty about and shouldn't also involves my parent, but my other parent. And this also involves work. Man, work and parents just don't mix apparently at all. So I had been staying with my mom, and I worked at a popular coffee joint. And I had called a cab to get myself to work, and my mom had, because I think it must have been snowing, because normally I walked from her house to that job, and my mom would have usually walked from her house to her job, but it must have been snowing, or the weather must have been crappy, or something, because I called a cab. And my mom had asked, oh, do you mind if I hop in with you and just have them take me to my job after? And I'm like, I don't see why not. So the cab shows up, and she's still upstairs, and she's like, oh, just tell them to wait a minute, I'll be right down. And I'm like, okay. So I go down, and I get in the cab, and I'm like, oh, hey, is it alright if if it's going to be just a second, my mom's going to come down, she just needs a quick redirect at the end to get to her job. And he's like, oh, I've got other customers lined up. I'm not going to have time. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, give me a second. I got to, call my mom and let her know not to come down or whatever. And this dude just starts driving away. I was like, okay, hang on a second. And he just started driving. And I was baffled because, I couldn't not take the cab because both of us missing work wouldn't accomplish anything. But as he's starting to drive away, my mom comes down and is chasing after the cab as it drives away. And I just remember looking back at her and feeling so awful about myself. And even that same day, I had called her and been like, I did not tell him to leave without you. He said he had another ride. And she's like, oh, honey, it's okay. It's fine. It's not your fault. That guy was just a douche. But I still felt awful about it, and looking back at her chasing this cab down just made me feel terrible. And there's a lot of other things that I feel guilty about that I probably feel guilty about for a better reason, a really good reason for me to still feel guilty about this was everybody on this channel, everybody who knows me knows how much I love my siblings. I mean, Nigma and Crow and Ivy are really, really important to me. I'm a family man, what can I say? So when I was little, I used to get these things called balloonies, and it was like liquid plastic, and they would come with these pink straws, and you'd put a ball of this liquid plastic on the end of the straw, and you'd blow into the straw, and it would turn into a big bubble. And once it got to the size that you wanted it, you could pinch it off, and you could touch it and play with it, you know? So it was a bubble that wouldn't pop. I mean, obviously, if you squeezed it hard, it would pop. It wasn't very, sturdy, but it, you know, whatever. Cool little toy for little kids, you know. The weirdest things fascinate us when we're little, right? But it does say on the packaging, do not ingest, highly toxic. Call blah 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 poison control if ingested. So, my mom had told me, don't bring this stuff over to our house on the weekends, because if your brother eats it, he could die. And that's a big deal, you know, obviously. And I remember I would bring it over anyway, because we weren't very well supervised, and, you know, screw you, Mom, I'm going to do what I want. And I caught my brother with the little tube. I didn't catch him eating it, but I caught him with the tube. And in my little child brain, I knew that the right thing to do would have been to let my mom know so that she could call poison control and make sure he didn't die. But I was so scared of getting in trouble that I just took it away from him and kept a really, really close eye on him for the rest of the day. And every time that this kid coughed or sneezed or flinched, I was on top of him like, oh my god, are you alright? Don't die! Don't die, otherwise I'll get in huge trouble. So that's something that I definitely is a good reason to feel guilty about that. And I do, still, very much, very, very badly. But, obviously, he's okay. You know, he's still around. He's alright. He didn't eat it, apparently. Or if he did, he ended up being okay anyway. So, yeah. Lots and lots of things. That one I definitely should still feel guilty about. And then there's, you know, the standard I'm an awful big sister things to feel awful about. You know, like locking my sister in closets and putting her underneath toy boxes and then sitting on them so that she couldn't get out. But to be totally fair, she did that to me too. So we both sucked. We're both just terrible sisters. And when Crow was little, I mean, he was a really well-behaved kid, but when he stepped out of line, by that point I was old enough to know about psychological warfare. So when he misbehaved, I would hold him down and lick his eyeballs, and he would cry hysterically. And to this day, when he makes me mad, he kind of blinks a lot, and I think that it's just his brain being like, no, not the eyeballs, not the eyeballs. So, yeah, what can I say? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, everybody, that I just suck so bad. I just suck so bad. Yeah, this should be that other time that I was a total dick, part 2. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was in reference to one of the very first videos that I ever posted here. I meant to mention, I've been posting on YouTube for just about a year now. Like, all of my original videos say 1 year ago. And the ones right after that are 11 months ago. I mean, like, really, seems to be just about a year ago. So, yay, we made it this far, yay. Let's hope that we make it this far another year. And 2 years from now, we can do another one of these fun throwback whatevers. Alright, guys, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you know where to put them. I'm going to have my Threadless shop link down in the comments. You know, I have a whole bunch of art pieces for sale too, so if any of you are interested in purchasing a print, an original piece, or a sticker of this piece that you are watching me make right now, then you can hit me up on any of my social medias, and you can totally buy some, because who doesn't love buying cool art, right? Right? Come on, guys, help me out here. Alright, and I will see you